The Yankees' biggest issue right now, until they make a trade, and they need to make a trade at some point, Yankees got to figure out how to protect Aaron Judge. I mean, this is now at a very different pace than it has been in the past. Aaron Judge has been intentionally walked 20 times. 20 this year. Last year, 20 the entire season. So we can, think about this. We can sit here as we have and talk about, what the Yankees need to do to get their first championship since 2009 and blah, blah, blah. And that's all really important, pertinent stuff. And I've given you some thoughts on that. Me and Sal, by the way, Sal's off. We've gone over that over the years here, certainly for this season. But if they don't get Aaron Judge in the right position, I don't think that there's a move that they can make that's going to really matter enough. They got to get this guy in a spot where you can't walk him. Now, the problem is they don't have a true leadoff hitter. And the other problem is the one guy that's been running out there a little bit as a leadoff hitter is banged up. And Grisham, do you trust Dominguez? I don't know. Maybe Aaron Boone goes in that direction. I think what the Yankees, to me, there's only one solution. And, you could throw out the Stantons and Jazz, who's been on a great roll. I'm not looking to mess with Jazz. And it's definitely not Stanton at this point. I think that the only way that the Yankees can work around this is you got to put Judge too, and you got to hope that Bellinger is in the early stages of taking off. And he might be. I don't know if we ever get MVP Bellinger. I don't think that they, acquired that player. But think about the roster, guys. Who's equipped to really have Aaron Judge's back? That's the question that, the Yankees really should ask themselves every single season. And if they don't have the right answer, well, they got to go out there and find one. Because you simply can't, they're not good enough. You can't have a situation where, once a night, twice a game now, runner on first base, doesn't matter. The opposing managers are getting very cavalier in how they issue these intentional walks. And until the Yankees make them pay with blood, they're going to keep doing it. So, I got half the solution, and that's put him in a different spot in the order. I think I might have the other part, and that's putting Bellinger in the 3 spot. There's no guarantee that that's the answer, but I'll tell you this, you better guarantee that you try to do something different because Aaron Judge not seeing pitches ain't good for the Yankees. Yankees go nowhere when Aaron Judge doesn't do damage. That's just the way it is. You guys know this, And even if this works out perfectly, and I think that there's a way around this. I just gave you my way to do it. Even if that works, I think the Yankees still have other issues that worry me. And again, these have been talking points for a while, but it's got to start with this. Imagine sitting here and the Knicks try to go on a championship run and Jalen Brunson is getting, triple teamed and he can only get 9 shots off a night. Untenable, right? Certain things you got to work around. And the Yankees absolutely must work around the increasing decisions in terms of frequency by opposing managers to avoid pitching to the best player in baseball. You cannot allow that to diminish the team, and it's starting to. You got to start changing things up. All right, 10:06 on the Fan. BT and Sal inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. 20 walks this year already. Let's get to you guys. You're ready to jump in early. Santo in West Haven, Connecticut on the Fan. What's going on, Santo?
E.T., what's up, bro?
How are you, man?
I was thinking, I think it's got to be Jazz right now behind Judge because Jazz's negative is, from what I've seen, is he swings and misses. But right now he's hot, and if you put Judge on, they're going to challenge him. I think it's got to be Jazz behind Judge. And I also want your thoughts on Volpe, man. This dude's not it. He's not it.
Yeah, Volpe had a rough night. I'm going to get to Volpe in a little bit. I want to keep this to Judge here. Although a couple of things that I think people go overboard last night, but no, it has not been a good run for Volpe. Last night was a tough look for he's absolutely he's wearing it. There's no doubt. Jazz behind Aaron Judge. I don't love that. I want a little more contact, and I just feel like Bellinger's approach is certainly a lot more refined. I remember before the Yankees got him, I forget the exact stat, but I guess it would have been 2 years ago where he had the highest batting average with 2 strikes. Now, not that it's completely translated here, but he's got a very different. Like you actually see him with 2 strikes, he chokes up. And to me, if you're gonna put Aaron Judge on or pitch around Aaron Judge, maybe it's not overtly walking him, but keeping things out of the strike zone, and eventually he gets there in a more conventional way. Don't you think that the move would be to have somebody who's got a little more bat to ball ability behind Aaron Judge to kind of keep the train moving? I do, and the other thing too, I just think that Bellinger is a little more. He's certainly more polished than Jazz, whose peaks and valleys are much more pronounced than Bellinger. So I'm not looking to mess around with Jazz Chisholm right now. I mean, Jazz is on an absolute roll. Me and Hoff were looking at his numbers before the show since he came back, and what was it, Hoff? Like a 980 OPS. He's hitting like 350, 360. He's absolutely tattooing the ball. Now, he might want to drop down a couple of bunts in the batting cage before he hits the field, or actually not bunt at all. I don't really know why that was happening. A couple of weird things last night. But this is the big takeaway. He is indisputably the most dynamic, awesome player in baseball. He's basically Alex Rodriguez without steroids. Okay? And in certain regards, better. So you got to do everything that you can possibly do to give him a chance to succeed. And taking the bat out of his hands can't happen. And it's happening too much, too often, and it's a new trend, and the Yankees got to get ahead of this. Matt's in New City. Matt, BT, and Sal, what's going on, bud?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good, Matty.
Last night was a maddening game.
Yeah, it was. I agree. Bothersome.
I think you got to bat Dominguez leadoff, and then you got to I would go Dominguez leadoff, Judge 2, Bellinger 3. Break up the righty-lefties. And Dominguez last night, he had that ground ball that he beat out.
Yes.
He had the base hit. I think the kid's ready. There's no other. I don't like Grisham leadoff. I think Dominguez should bat leadoff. He's fast. He's young. I think it's time.
He was apt. They showed the one frame of him out of the box down the line. He was cooking. I mean, he looked like a linebacker, the way he's built and the way he was flying. You might be right, Matt. He might be ready to take off. He really might be. See, the numbers are a little underwhelming this year, and certainly in terms of the power. He got 6, and a couple came in one game against Kansas City. So I thought we'd see more easy power, but at no point this year has Jason Dominguez looked overwhelmed, And I get there's a pretty sizable disparity between his lefty and his righty splits there. So you want to say, well, he's looked a little overwhelmed as a righty. Okay. But in terms of just the totality of the season, he's been less than what we wanted, and certainly I think a little bit less than what the Yankees need for them to, really hit stride and hit another level here. But there's been enough flashes where it wouldn't surprise me if it happens. And he's, again, overwhelmed. Not being overwhelmed for a young player is very important. Too often in the batter's box, Calder mentioned Volpe before, Anthony's looked overwhelmed. Too many times this year, Alvarez for the Mets looked overwhelmed. That's why he's in Syracuse right now, And a couple of years ago, Beatty and Vientos did as well. So everybody's progression is different. Now, the thing about if you were to trust, it's a very interesting thought. I got to be honest. If you were to trust Dominguez, even if it's for a couple of weeks, I don't even know if Grisham's out that long with the hamstring, but if Dominguez was 1 and you have Judge 2 and Bellinger 3, well, not only would Bellinger provide the proper protection for Judge, which is what I'm talking about to start the show, but also Judge right behind Dominguez should set up Jason Dominguez to go bonkers because you got Aaron Judge behind you. So that very well, in terms of internal, non-trade answers, that very well might be the way to go. 888-808-1019, BT and Sound on the Fan. Let me get Sean in Long Valley. Sean, what's cooking?
What's up, BT? How are you?
I am good, man. How are you today? How are you today?
Don't you think Bellinger?
Huh? All right, Sean, go ahead. Give it a shot, buddy, before I cut you.
Can you hear me?
I do, but man, it's just get us back. It's early enough in the show. There's a line open. Steve's in Newark, New Jersey. BT and Sal on the Fan. What up, Steve?
Brandon, what's up, buddy?
Hello, sir.
I get the whole thing with them pitching around Judge, but I mean, Boone's comments after the game on Sunday about him possibly a sore back.
Yeah.
I mean, his strikeouts are it's atrocious since the middle of June. You don't think he has anything to do with him being hurt?
I don't know. That's one thing. I mean, I could give you a guess. That is something that I almost have. I don't want to say I have no opinion on because I have an opinion on everything. But there's nothing. I have no MRI, no imaging. I don't see him in the trainer's room. I mean, dude, he's 6'7", 280 pounds. He's in his 30s.
Big boy.
Yeah, I mean, he plays every day. I mean, I think there's 25-year-olds who are banged up. Austin Wells' fingers bothering him. So maybe.
Because you look at that Red Sox series, I mean, he struck out 3 times, 3 games in a row. I mean, that's 9 Ks in 3 days. Hey. And that was that's right around when Booney said, June 12th, June 13th.
I understand. No, the chronology of it, you very well might be onto something there, Steve. But, to me, listen, the Yankees are not stupid, and the Yankees are not reckless. I mean, they're not stupid or reckless with players who have marginal impact on the season. You think they're going to mess around with Aaron Judge in June, late June, into the early stages of July? There's no way. So I've got to assume that Aaron Judge is healthy. And when you're healthy, I've got to react to your performance, all the great stuff, all the slides, understanding that it's baseball and he's still absolutely all-time, all-world amazing. But, he's in a little bit of a funk here. And he's expanded the strike zone, and the strikeouts have piled up, and now they're pitching around him. And the one thing that Judge generally does very well is, I'm not saying he never, swings at sliders and the slop in the dirt, but he has no problem just passing along the baton. Not quite Soto patience, like that's Juan's absolute best skill. I wouldn't say that that's Aaron's best skill, but it used to be a bit of a weakness. Now it's fairly benign. Like he wants to do his damage, but he understands the situation. He's at his mental baseball apex. Like Aaron Judge, in terms of the mind and the body being in sync, very well might not ever be at this level again. I mean, as time goes on, you'll maintain that sharpness, and maybe you'll learn a few more things as a player. But each year, you lose a little 1% here, half a step there, a little 2% there. It's going to add up. So, right now, this is him at his superhuman powers still. And I got to make sure that, you can't be pitched around like this. It just can't happen. Let me get Rob up in Westchester on the Fan, BT and Sal. What's up, Rob?
BT, what's up, buddy? I'm going to jump right into it. I think you're way too overexcited about Jazz Chisholm. This guy, and I'm a Mets fan here. I've been watching the guy for years.
Okay.
The guy's he's never had a 900 OPS. He's never hit, he's never hit 30 home runs before. I know he's only 27.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, that's acceptable if he was Volpe's age. Okay, 2-3 years go by. What makes you think he's going to keep up this little mini hot streak he's on? The guy's all talk, all flash. He hasn't proven diddly squat his whole career. What makes you think he's going to all of a sudden keep this up?
Well, first of all, Rob, I didn't say that he should bat behind Aaron Judge. So you make it seem like I'm propping him up as the answer. I'm just saying he's on a good run.
You're making it sound like, from listening on the radio right now, that he's going to be the guy that's going to get you guys through your hitting drought. He's not going to be the one.
Rob, you got the right station on? I never even remotely
I got
close.
the right station on. I do. And you're hating on Volpe a lot. Volpe overall in his career is hitting the same average almost as Chisholm. I don't know why you're hyping up this guy so much. He's not good.
Rob, do me a favor. Rob, do me a favor. If this was the old days, I'd say go find a newspaper, look up some stats. Open up your phone, look at the stats, and get back to me tomorrow with Volpe and Jazz. Because it ain't close. I mean, what, are you kidding me? I mean, Anthony Volpe, who... Well, I mean, I've got his back. He never even really has a 700 OPS. Jazz is closer to 8 for his career. And that's with the dumpy Marlins. No, I don't know what you heard, honestly. What I'm saying is they better fix this problem with Judge. And my solutions are maybe a little Dominguez 1 and Bellinger 3. How that equates to your mind, anything about Jazz Chisholm, is beyond me. Except a reference of his recent run, which is exactly what he's done. So, I mean, it's baseball, dude. So when a good player has a bad spurt, we can't reference that. And when a player who should be probably a little bit better, which I'll grant you, and you've heard me say to Sal, like there's things about Jazz I love, but there's things about him that terrify me. I mean, it's not the Jazz love train, you know? He's incredibly talented. Now, I think that's part of the reason why some of his performances bother me, some of the inconsistencies. Because I look at Jazz Chisholm, and if he was brought up in a different system or, he had maybe a different inner tweaking or different mechanisms to his early stages as a pro, with that speed, with that arm, and with that power, Jazz Chisholm should be an 8, 9-time All-Star when it's all said and done. And he never will be. So I get that. But what Jazz does do is steal your bases and hit some home runs. So, I don't know what to tell you there, buddy. 888-808-1019. BT and Sal here on the Fan. Brandon Tierney, Sal Licata Show. So this year in 2025, and we'll get more into this coming up, what's the solution? And I preface this with, because anybody could call me up and say they got to make a trade. Now, that's something that I've said, and I'll continue to espouse that because I think that they need to make a trade. And I believe strongly that they will. And not just a little rearranging of the decks, of the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. I need somebody who's going to be batting fifth, playing third, a real player. All right? But right now, because the season's still being defined, and every time you lose to the Blue Jays, and every time you lose a game, or lose a series to the Red Sox, missed opportunities. And I'm trying to mitigate the missed opportunities. I got to put Judge in the absolute best spot to get to swing. Just to merely get the bat off his shoulders. What would you do?